You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Welcome to Business Access Television's coverage of Roper Cup 2019. It's the annual football festival between Kingston College and St. George's College. We're coming to you from the Stadium East Field, where we will be bringing you highlights from an exciting day of football. I'm your host, Kenil Gale. Stick around. Joining me now to kick off our coverage is Dr. Patrick Dallas. He is the chair of the Roper Cup 2019 Organizing Committee. Dr. Dallas, thank you so much for joining us here on Business Access Television. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and you're most welcome. And thank you for being here to be part of this great football festival called Roper Cup.
All right, awesome. Let's start by telling our viewers a little bit about the Roper Cup. Give us some background in terms of the genesis of the Roper Cup and the reason the festival is so important to Kingston College and St. George's College.
Well, Roper Cup is symbolic of that friendly rivalry between two great institutions on North Street, Kingston College and St. George's College. This Roper Cup competition goes back to 1964. It's named after Father Jack Roper, who was a Jesuit priest at St. George's, and our founder of Kingston College, that is Percival William Gibson. He actually is a old boy of St. George's College, and we have managed to keep that link between two institutions. We are, we're rivals on the field, but we are very good friends. And the enduring part about Roper Cup and why we want is to continue because it is important to show that we can be rivals and friends. So, as I said, it started 1964, so this is really the 56th renewal of the Roper Cup. And this year, Kingston College hosting. We alternate host for the Roper Cup competition. One of the important things about this year too, one of the attractive thing about this year too, is that the final match, which is usually the Manning Cup match, is really a replay of last year's Manning Cup final. Right. So we expect to get a lot of interest in this. We expect people to come out and see this as a dress rehearsal for the season that is coming up.
For the season that's coming up, which should be a renewal of the intense rivalry. But talk to me, you said the Manning Cup match will be ending the proceedings this evening. Talk to me about the other divisions that happened today.
Okay, we started with under 14, and Kingston College won that 4-1. We then had the under 16. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Kingston College won 4-1 again. Then we went into the under 35, and that was a 1-all draw. And the over 35 ended again in the 2-all draw. Well, it's interesting because the George Thompson Cup is decided on the aggregate score of the under 14 and under 16. Right. And then the Roper Cup itself is decided on the under 35 and the Manning Cup scores, the aggregate scores. The Pancho Ranking Cup is the over 35. So that cup will be shared.
This is very significant to Kingston College and St. George's College boys, whether present or old boys. Just tell me why do you think it is so significant to the past students, the present students?
Yes, because this is two institutions that have great reputation in football in tradition and always strong teams. So we always see this as a last match before the real season begins, where we can use this match. Both teams see this as the opportunity where they have a final match before the competition starts against another strong team. So it's very important because both teams can use this to gauge where they are in the competition.
Joining me now is a man they call Coolie Pele. I'll allow him to tell you his right name.
Well, popularly called, and affectionately so I take no offense to it, Fuli Pele, but my given name is Derek Deniser, also called Shastri, from my Kingston College days. So it's Derek Shastri Deniser. And the fans call me all kind of things, whether they are rooting for me or against me. But I've learned at KC not to resist any names given to you, but to just smile and go on.
And with the KC St. George's College rivalry, they probably have called you a lot of things in the days, right?
Yes, a lot of things, affectionately so. And I've grown from when I was a player to a past player to now working with a company that sponsors the competition. And it's been friendly rivalry over the years. The Europa Cup is really the longest traditional feud or rivalry between high school at the football level. And we welcome it every year. The St. Georgians look forward to it. They tease us, they say our headmaster went there and the cup is named after a Georgian. And we tell them that they may be twice as old as us, but we are twice as good as they are.
Talk to me about the importance of the Europa Cup in building not just the rivalry, but the brotherhood between these gentlemen going to these schools.
Well, the rivalry is very important. These are two great traditional institutions, and the tenets and principles that they uphold and have dear to their heart, we try to transmit that to the wider society. Honesty, character, good building. Rivalry and sport, yes, but the aim of Bishop Gibson was to build good men for the wider society so that all of us in the end can benefit. Education is paramount, but then physical activity, a good healthy body with a good healthy mind are as well for the success of the society.
Talk to me about moving from being a player to being a national player to now being involved with the organization and sponsorship of the Europa.
Well, you move on as with age, you are not able to do what you would like to do physically, but mentally you still have a desire so to do. But not being able to do it, we impart it to the young and upcoming youngsters who, I was like them once, and we try to tell them that one day they'll be like us, God willing, they live forever. And to live not only for today, but to live with eternity in view, what we do and say now, and the principles and the values that we are teaching them, these are values that on the road of life, they can guide them and they avoid pitfalls and make the best of their best situation. But primarily for the youngsters still in school, the rivalry is intense. With age and memories, it diminishes, but the values that we hold there, that never diminishes.
Talk to me about coming on as a sponsor. Why did Qualcare decide to come on as a sponsor for the Europa Cup?
Well, Qualcare, it's a quality product, and we wanted to introduce the drink to the athletic population. It's a good quality drink. Interest is nutrition you can trust, and that is where our interest is. It's primarily Qualcare, the parent company, is primarily a pharmaceutical company. But they say an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And with good nutrition, you can delay the onset of illnesses that would otherwise occur. So in trust, nutrition you can trust. And Qualcare is proud to be associated with the Europa Cup.
KC has done pretty well so far in the other divisions that have gone so far, with the over 35 still happening now and the Manning Cup matches to come. Who do you betting on?
Well, I'm not a betting man. My heart is with Kingston College, unapologetically so. But more important is for the fraternity, the St. George's and the KC fraternity, to come together, have a good time. I say at the launch, the organizer of this year's competition said it's unparalleled or unheard of anywhere else in the world. Not only Jamaica, where two such great institutions are less than 100 meters apart, and that is Kingston College on the southern side and St. George's on the northern side. But we are two great institutions and we work well together, not only in sports, but also in Labour Day we do joint projects together, pedestrian crossings, and activities that are not necessarily in the limelight, but are just as important as building friendship and friendly rivalry.
So it's more than just rivalry, it's brotherhood.
Yes, of course, because in the end when we leave school, we have to live with each other, and both institutions, our primary aim is to build good gentlemen with sound manners and know how to cooperate with each other, and that should augur well for the wider society.
joining me now to talk a little bit about his match is the MVP from the under-35 division of the competition, Sanjay Mathura. He plays for St. George's College. Sanjay, welcome to Business Access Television. How are you doing?
I'm alright, thanks for having me.
All right, great. Tell us a little bit about your match today.
Well, my match was very competitive, sun was hot and an enjoyable game.
You scored the goal, so you were the MVP. That makes you feel a little special, right?
Yeah, very special, because it was a wonderful goal, awesome goal from the top of the 18, watching the ball going to the top corner, so it was a very special moment.
What does playing in the Europa Cup means to you as an individual player?
Well, I always display a lot of passion for the blue and white, so it's always good rivalry with KC, although we're brothers across the street, but it's a great deal of history and a lot of football games between each other and very competitive games, glory and defeat, so it means a lot.
Do you think the rivalry between Kingston College and St. George's College makes each team stronger?
Definitely, it makes each team stronger because each year, one winning, one losing or drawing, everybody learns from it and we move forward in our competition.
If somebody is asking why, because you're in the under 35 division, and I figure when you become over 35, you will want to still be playing. For those who are asking, why do you continue to do this?
Well, it's the love of the game, the passion and the love for your school, and you come out and have fun on this day, you come to Stadium East or if it's at George's, and you just come out and have fun, and you see old friends from way back when. It's just fun.
So it's a day of building brotherhood and camaraderie and all of that?
Yes, year after year, because it's already there, so it's just year after year continuing the structure and everything that's good about this day and the Europa Cup.
You played several Europa Cups. Tell me, what was one of your most memorable moments over the years?
Well, I'll definitely remember this one because I scored, but there's so many moments I could go on and on to tell you. But there's a lot of good Europa Cups that I've been through.
This event epitomizes what true spirit of friendly rivalry is about. And we hope that the camaraderie between the right side of North Street and the other side of North Street will continue.
We take a break here on Business Access Television's coverage of Europa Cup 2019. More when we return.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Business Access Television's coverage of Europa Cup 2019. We're in the final segment of our highlights package, and the Manning Cup match is on the field. That's between Kingston College and St. George's College. Let's check out some highlights. So we caught up with another MVP. This time it's the MVP for the under-16 division of the competition, Jaheim Johnson. Now he scored 3 goals in KC's 3-1 win over St. George's. Congratulations, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, how was the match for you?
It was very hard because of a shoulder injury. I just stayed in the match and do what our coach said.
Hold on, so the shoulder injury, you scored 3 goals. So if you never have the shoulder injury, how much goal did you score?
I don't really know. I just go there and did my best.
What was it like beating St. George's?
It was very challenging, and it just boosts my confidence to go in the competition and do my best.
Being a part of something with such great tradition such as the Europa Cup, what does it mean for you as a young player being a part of this, where you see so many players from years gone by? You have the Manning Cup team participating, you have masters who are over 35 participating, and you in your own right standing out. How does that make you feel?
That made me feel very happy to see the legend of KC playing, and plus myself playing amongst my opponents, St. George's, and my teammates. I feel very happy.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the future. You're a young player with a bright future. What are your plans? I assume you're playing Colts now, so you want to move on to Manning Cup and probably the national team?
Yes, that's my future, to play for Jamaica, to represent my country.
And what would that mean for you to don the colors of Jamaica?
It would mean a lot to me because I'm trying from I was 12 years old playing under 30. I'm doing it for me, my dad, and my family.
Matthew Wilson now joins us. He's the MVP for the under-14 division of today's Europa Cup 2019. Matthew, thanks so much for joining us here on Business Access. How are you?
I'm great.
All right, tell us a little bit about your match. KC won 4-1.
4-1, yeah. Match is very great, kind of competitive most of the times, but I still pull through great.
All right, I take it your teammates were happy with the victory and being victorious over St. George's?
Yes, we're very pleased with the victory and the performance.
To tell me a little bit about your personal feelings, or how do you feel to be a part of the Europa Cup 2019?
I feel very great be a part of Europa Cup because it's a nice competition to play. It's great.
Last season, you're a part of Kingston College Pepsi team. Last season, you guys did pretty well. You're looking forward to the next season and doing better?
Last year, I wasn't playing much game because I was injured. So this year, I'm looking forward to do a great job.
We're now here with Shantamoy Taylor. He is the MVP of the Manning Cup match, and he's representing St. George's College. Shantamoy, thank you so much for joining us here on Business Access Television. How was the match for you?
The match was a great match. I played in patches, but I delivered to my team.
Walk me through the entire game and going up against Kingston College. How are you feeling?
I was feeling a little nervous coming out in the game while the game was playing, and then I started to relax and play my game.
Was it difficult playing against Kingston College? No, well, they had lots of supporters here, so was that at all intimidating?
Yeah, a little bit because, a lot of fans and beer nice and talking. Okay.
Looking forward to the Manning Cup season. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting to play to more quality and play some good football.
And that's how we wrap up our highlights package of Roper Cup 2019, the football festival between Kingston College and St. George's College from the Stadium East Field. I'm your host, Kenil Gale. We hope you enjoyed our coverage. Pleasant viewing.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life runs art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without the customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On point. Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
Wealth Magazine is back at it again with Corporate Mingle. Today we're here at the Reggae Mill Bar, where executives, creatives, entrepreneurs are here to mix and mingle. I'm your host, Amita Pasalba. Please stay tuned for highlights.
Thank you to the team from Wealth, and thank you for you being here. We're here to introduce you to the newest way to deal with Western Union. This is the way of the future. This is how you will be handling your Western Union business going forward. It's called westernunion.com.
Grace Kennedy Money Services is in partnership with CME today here at Corporate Mingle. Talk to me about that.
So, Grace Kennedy Money Services is the home of Western Union, Bill Express, FX Trader. Today we're here with CME because we have an exciting new product to push, and this is the ideal target audience or corporates. Because you know what? Corporate people, they're always on the go, they're always moving, they don't have time sometimes to just get to a Western Union location to do their business. So we have a platform where they can stay wherever they are as long as they have an internet connection and they can send a money transfer. That's why we're here, we're pushing that. So woo.com is the name of the website, and it allows you to send a money transfer to anywhere in Jamaica or to 200 countries across the world. Wherever a Western Union location is, you can send a money transfer. You need to send some money, you need to send it fast. Register, go on woo.com, send it. All you have, the only money you spent is that money that you're trying to send. That's it. No credit card fees, no processing fees, no transfer fees, nothing. Zero. And you have to be registered. It's a registered service. Part of registration that you have to do, you start online. But you have to satisfy our own Jamaican regulations, Bank of Jamaica regulations, you have to go into a location with your ID that you registered with to validate. And that's it. All we need to do is to be able to see your ID, see you, and know that you are who this ID is. That's it. Once you've been validated, you never have to go back into a location to receive money ever again.
It's Corporate Mingle Networking with a Purpose. We're here today at the Reggae Mill Bar. Talk to us about what's happening.
All right, so this is our fourth staging of the Corporate Mingle, and this is the first time actually coming to this location. We have a mixed crowd because we have Bumblebee as a sponsor. We have Grace Kennedy, Western Union, Business Access TV, and of course, Adam and Eve Day Spa. So we have a very mixed crowd. We have mature, younger persons here. It's always a new venue, so we can try something new so persons don't get used to the same venue, and it's always here again. It's always a new place, preferably somewhere hip. As you see, Reggae Mill is where all the festivities happening now for the young people. We have different networking games. We have our wonderful host, as usual, Amisa. So we try to keep it interactive, get persons involved, talking to each other, mingling, networking. Of course, drinks flowing, so people flowing, conversations flowing.
So talk to us a little bit in regards to what exactly it is that Bumblebee does.
So Bumblebee is a digital media agency, so we look at what we can consider traditional digital media, which is the Facebook and the Instagram and the Twitter and Google, of course. But we are also into programmatic, and definitely the leading product that we offer is Wi-Fi advertising, which is new to Jamaica. So we are partners with Growth Tech, and they are committed to making Wi-Fi like oxygen. So we are committed to helping brands build brand loyalty by helping to make Wi-Fi like oxygen by partnering and sponsoring that Wi-Fi. So we're the leaders in that regard. We have amazing click-through rates, which is above every other digital platform that is currently here. So we are seeing click-through rates of between 10 and 30% and lead generations of over 30%, which is not heard of in the region. So this is really something big that brands can and should get into.
I've been here for a very long time. We've been building our product for the past 3 years, and I've been coming here, building networks, building my social network. So this is not my first time I've been here.
Tell me about your business, Intranet Solutions.
Intranet Solutions, we offer social Wi-Fi to businesses. So instead of persons signing in with a passcode, they use their social media handles. So they use Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whichever handle is there at the time. Once persons sign in, companies get their demographic information because they would have approved and allowed for you to get that information. So it's a way to build on your marketing list and a way to improve your business overall.
Talk to me about O'Shane Bryant Fitness.
All right, so O'Shane Bryant Fitness, we don't have a fixed location. We're predominantly at UEMONA campus, but of course we're a fitness entity that's geared towards giving Jamaica the most affordable health and fitness lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and not a fat thing.
Well, it's my second time coming to a mingle. I'm really enjoying it. Perfect place to mingle, to get your business out there and learn about your peers and what's going on.
It's that time where we bid you farewell. Thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV and our coverage of Corporate Mingle here at the Reggae Mill Bar. I've been your host, Amita Pasad-Webb, and you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
It is said that a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Tomorrow, on National Heroes Day, we will honor our local heroes during the National Honors and Awards Ceremony at King's House. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We have an interesting show lined up just for you, so stay tuned as we turn the pages of your favorite program.
It's the 9th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition, and this year we're talking slavery and reparation. Entries are now open, so listen up. Primary and prep school students, this is what you should do. Imagine that you are one of the 7 national heroes. Make your case for Jamaica to be compensated for the effects of slavery. Answer this question in an essay of 400 to 500 words and submit using the application form on our website, jis.gov.jm. Entrants must be aged 9 to 12 years old. Secondary students, the poster competition is for you. Submit your digital or illustrated posters to depict the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. The photo competition is open to tertiary students in accredited Jamaican institutions. Send us a photo, also representing the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. All entries should be submitted using the application form on the JIS website. For more information, contact 876-922-3590, extension 2137 or 2132. You may also email heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, and heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm. Deadline for entries is Monday, October 28. Go ahead, express yourself in the JIS Heritage Competition 2019.
The Transformation Implementation Unit, which was established in 2017 by the Prime Minister, is the first of its kind, responsible for enabling a modern and efficient public sector in Jamaica. Find out more on Get the Facts.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Anthros Campbell. Now today we're looking at the progress being made by the Transformation Implementation Unit and the way forward. And my guest is Executive Director Maria Thompson Waters. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, tell us about the TIU. Why was it established and what's the purpose?
The TIU was established to implement public sector transformation. It is the first of its kind in the public sector. Over the years, we've done public sector transformation, but there's never been a unit dedicated to implementing the plans. And our unit was established to do that in 2017 by the Prime Minister. And our objectives are ensuring that for public sector transformation, we deliver effective customer service consistently. So we transform the public service so that we can have effective customer service delivered consistently.
Yes.
We have knowledge-based workers who are trained and properly compensated. We have a digital government.
That's what we're hoping to have, right?
That's what we're hoping to have. So these are our long-term objectives.
Right.
Yes.
And this is only 2 years old. It seems like it's been around for a while, though.
It does feel that way. The public sector has been going through transformation for some time now, about 30 years.
Okay, we're getting to that transformation. And your vision is for a modern public service that is fair, that values people, And you said before, consistently delivering products and services.
Good customer service.
Yeah, but how do we compare now? Because I'm a part of the public service.
Of course. And we have made some progress. If you look at some of our executive agencies, we started off with 8 executive agencies. We're now at 12. And the focus of executive agencies is to do just that, deliver services promptly and effectively. So if you look at PICA, you look at RGD, the difference before these agencies were transformed is amazing. It would take you sometimes years to get your birth certificate. Now you can do that in 24 hours. Yes. So there have been strides made, but there are stops and starts. Yes. What we have is a program now that will take us consistently through the next 6 years to ensure that we have all the foundation that we need to transform in this digital age.
Yes, but fair and one that values people, explain that.
Of course. So have you ever been to the hospital?
Yes.
And you're waiting to see the doctor. You know, everybody's miserable. You get into a contention with some of the workers at the hospital, and persons come out and say, boy, government no fair, you know. This is, because they're not saying the hospital isn't fair. Government isn't fair. When people get bad service, it reflects on all of us in the public sector. And so we want a public sector that treats people evenly, no matter where you are or where you're from. Right. People are treated fairly. And all of this we can achieve through effective customer service.
Yes, yes. So you're into training?
We are into training, we're into upskilling public officers, because this is the digital age. Yes. We need to ensure that our public officers have the skills that are required for them to compete and work in this age. So we're into training and upskilling. Change management is a big thing. Transformation is all about change.
Tell us about that change management.
Transformation is...
Because change, you know, once you say change, people are thinking, oh, I'm going to lose my job?
Yes. Yes. No. What we're saying is we need to prepare you for this new way of working.
Yes.
So we're not assuming that everybody is going to embrace the change, because change is scary. What we've done so far is we have trained and certified 80 public officers as change managers, so that they can help guide the other employees in their organization through all of the different things that are going to be happening. Right. And we will be training another 60 in this month, trained and certified, so that we have an effective army of change managers. So when we are implementing all of these various projects, these efficiency projects, which will change the way you work, persons don't get uncomfortable and scared about what's in their future.
Are we saying that there is nothing right about the public sector as it is now? What is right about it?
Oh no, there is a lot right about the public service. You know, one of the basic things we say in the Transformation Implementation Unit is that if you look across the world today, our public sector can compete with almost any public sector, and if our program is developed to focus on what we call the foundations of public sector transformation, enabling persons to do the very best that they can do. Nobody comes to work and say, well, I'm coming to work to do nothing today. But persons need the tools, they need the technology, and they need the right use of their skills.
Yes.
And so there is a lot that is good in our public service today, but we can be so much better.
All right. Tell us about some of the other problems that you're trying to fix and how you're going to do it. Yeah.
Okay. So efficiency.
Yes.
We talk about delivering good customer service. Efficiency. How efficient are we? If you're dealing with a matter that has to do with 3 different public bodies, you have to go to each public body. You may get a different response. How do we ensure that we have efficiency and consistency in the public sector? This is through shared services. So with our shared services project, we are pulling out of ministries and departments some of the what we call back office work, finance and accounts, the administrative part of HR, procurement, internal audit, asset management, and delivering those services back into the public service in a shared environment where we will have one organization delivering across all of the public sector.
Right. So, what are some of the areas that you're going to be using as shared services?
As shared services.
Yes.
So, we have HR, but the administrative HR. So things like your personal letters, onboarding, recruitment, training, those things will be delivered through the shared services. Internal audit, which is where we do our annual audit reviews or biannual audit reviews, those will be done through the shared services. Procurement, can you imagine currently you have each ministry that buys its own paper. Can you imagine one organization purchasing for everybody, the amount of bargaining power you have doing it that way? So those are some of the areas that we are looking at, IT services to be delivered through a shared environment.
Okay. All right, let's take a break now. And when we come back, we continue to discuss the Transformation Implementation Unit. Please stay with us.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come here. Take time running. Are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block. Step out now me black side, but take about your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Feel say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit. From you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Feel say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
MOCA, MOCA.
Welcome back to Get the Facts, and we continue our discussion with Executive Director of the Transformation Implementation Unit, Maria Thompson Walters. Before the break, we were discussing the shared services. Tell us a little bit more. How will it work? People are going to be moving from one ministry to the next. Tell us about how it will work.
So the shared services will operate in two ways. The persons will be able to be employed within the shared services to provide the same service back to their ministry. Positions will be open. It will be an open competitive process for employment within the shared services. It will also
open competitive
process,
which means
that the positions in the shared services, once they're established, will be advertised within the public sector for public sector officers who are interested in maybe making a change in their career or would want to continue if they were employed in these areas before, to come and work in the shared services in an expanded way, because you're now working for the entire public sector.
Does that mean more pay?
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. But also, it will free up public officers to concentrate on more strategic work and ensuring that the policy direction of ministries are fulfilled.
Yes. So if I work in a PR company, for example, and that is one of the services that will be shared, right?
Right.
So, and what happens if someone interviews for that job but was not competitive enough, and so he or she loses that job? What will happen?
Well, they wouldn't lose the job. So we are doing several things at the same time. We understand that there are opportunities that come about with public sector transformation. You have persons who may find that they actually have a talent for data analysis. That is going to be a job that is going to be in high demand across the whole public sector. We will now be able to have data on how we spend, what we spend. We can analyze that information, make proper forecasts, look at trends, look at what we need to do in the future. So there's a whole exciting world that opens up. And you never can tell exactly what you may have an affinity for. So there will be opportunities. You may be working in PR today, but you may see a data analyst job in the Ministry of Finance and realize that actually, this is really where I should be. So it's not a situation where I'm in PR I applied for a job in PR shared services and I didn't get it, so I'm going to go home.
Yes.
Right? But also there's the option for persons to decide that they actually want to do something different outside of the public sector.
Right.
And that too is up to
So we're thinking HR, PR, audit, you said?
Internal
audit, and
yes.
what?
Finance and accounts,
Yes.
asset management, procurement, and IT services.
Excellent. So where are we with that now?
Right, so we've completed all of the business cases to see whether or not this is a good investment, it's a good area for government to invest. And the business cases have all come back positive. And we've just completed procurement for the consultant to come on board to help us with the establishment of all 7 shared services. We're far advanced with HR and internal audit, and we expect to start those pilots in the next fiscal year.
Yes, okay. Good job. All right, we started talking about what you're planning to fix with this TIU.
Yes.
You spoke about inefficiencies. Let's go to some of the other things that you're trying to fix.
Sure. So we have, in the public sector, we've found that there's an inadequate use of ICT. And part of that is because we don't have the capacity or the network to allow us to speak to each other electronically. So if I'm at the Ministry of Finance and I need to get information or a file from Office of the Prime Minister, I have to get in my car, drive to Office of the Prime Minister, drive back down with the file, or get the information there and come back to the Ministry of Finance and do my work. Whereas if we had a single government network, we would be able to access that information as we need it without leaving our desks. So the cost, the transactional cost, because remember now you will have to be, you're charging traveling. So if you're a traveling officer, your mileage, you have to pay for mileage. The cost of the time of the officer to leave their desk, go and get the file, come back to their ministry to do their work. Those things, ICT solves those issues. And so we're rolling out GovNet. And I know we've heard about GovNet for years and years and years, but we are rolling out GovNet. NWA has completed their fiber network, and we're going to be working with eGov and our consultant to connect all ministries and departments to this fiber network, which will enable the type of data sharing that's needed. So cut down on transaction time for things. We will ensure that there is more use of ICT in what we are doing. And that will go to also increasing our efficiency. And then we have our processes that have been developed for some time now, let's put it that way. And those processes will need revamping. Once we digitize some of the operations of government, the existing processes will also have to change to accommodate this faster way of operating, which will serve to bring services faster to our citizens. So we won't have this excessive bureaucratic processes that we have today.
Anything else? No, all right. Okay. So tell me, we know how this benefits the country.
Yes.
You know, but how does it benefit the public servant?
Right. So public sector transformation, I believe, is of, I would venture to say, is actually of more benefit to the public officer than citizen. Primarily because it allows persons to execute their job in such a way that puts them on the same level as any other country, any first world country. That is what we are aiming for. You know, the ability to, as a public officer, and I've worked in the public service myself for quite some time, it is difficult to hear on the call-in programs and people saying, boy, you know, civil servants, they don't care, and, you know, the complaints and the complaints and the complaints. I know we don't hear the praises, but it's always hard to hear the complaints. So you can imagine the pride you have in being a public officer in an organization that is serving both your internal and your external customers.
And we're sure that this is not about cutting jobs.
No, this is not about cutting jobs. This is absolutely not about cutting jobs. Saying that, there will be changes. It would not be fair for me to say that there won't be changes. There absolutely will be changes. But we are putting everything in place to support people through those changes, wherever those changes may lead.
Right. If you were to speak to the public sector now, what would you say to them?
To the public sector, I would say to them that engage in public sector transformation. Talk about it. Don't just have a water cooler chat. Talk about public sector transformation. Ask in your staff meetings, ask your senior officers, what is happening in public sector transformation? Reach out to the TIU. We are on all areas in social media. So reach out to the TIU, but get involved in public sector transformation. Find out how you can get involved in public sector transformation. There's a lot of offering here, and we want you to take advantage of it.
Okay. So we're closing on this, but where do we go next?
Right, so next we focus on completing the rollout of shared services, completing the rollout of GovNet. We're looking at efficiency projects in 3 ministries, and of course, getting into the compensation management project for the public sector.
Excellent.
Those are our next goals.
Thank you so very much for sharing with us today on Get the Facts. It was a delight.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Good. So this has been Get the Facts with our guest, Maria Thompson-Walters, who is Executive Director of the Transformation Implementation Unit. Until next time, I'm your host, Anthros Campbell. Take good care.
Motorists, when driving on the road, here are some simple reminders. Look out for and extend courtesy to all road users. Give plenty of room to pedestrians, especially in wet weather. Drive slowly. No bother wet them up. Slow down when approaching a pedestrian crossing or school, and always be prepared to stop. Remember, a school zone is a 30-kilometer zone. Cut your speed. Drivers of large and slow-moving vehicles should always keep in the far left hand of a dual carriageway. Keep it simple. Drive left and pass right. These are just simple reminders of your road duties. Drive safely.
On Monday, over 100 persons will be awarded at the National Honors and Awards Ceremony at King's House. In the field of science, Professor Gerald Layla will be receiving an Order of Merit and Errol Rickman a Badge of Honor for meritorious service.
Over 140 persons will be awarded at this year's staging of Jamaica's National Honors and Awards Ceremony, being hosted on the lawns of King's House on National Heroes Day. Heading that list is Jamaican scientist Professor Gerald Layla, who will be awarded the country's third highest honor, the Order of Merit. Professor Layla is being recognized for his eminent contribution to Jamaica and the world's development through the application of science, technology, and innovation, as well as his service to the public and private sectors. Among his numerous distinctions over the years, Layla has been awarded the Order of Jamaica and the Order of Distinction Commander Class.
Professor Layla receiving the Order of Merit is a real recognition of his contribution to nation building and socio-economic development, the impact that science can play in this. I mean, I think for far too long it's been overlooked how important science and technology is to the growth of a nation. Prof. Layla, I believe, recognized this decades ago, long before it became popular. Prof saw where the application of science and technology to our common problems in Jamaica and in the region can play a huge role, and it's proven it. It's there now. The rest of the world has caught up with him. So he was so far ahead of the rest, he wasn't able to hear the applause at the time. But now we've finally caught up with him, and I think he's been duly rewarded and honored. He started off in industry, in the logwood dye industry to be precise, and patented a process to produce dye from logwood that was so incredible that the persons at the company decided to send him up to the University of the West Indies to complete a master's degree. And then from that led to his PhD at Cambridge, I believe, in the 1960s. So, and he came back to academia following that, and his career grew steadily from there, leading to him becoming the head of the chemistry department, and then up to becoming the second principal of the Mona campus. He was the founder for the international, well, it was then called the Center for Nuclear Sciences. We later became the International Center in about 1995, I believe. So he was the founder of this institution. he has done some groundbreaking work in terms of the effects that trace elements, these are metals and so on that are in the soils, how this impacts on agriculture, on health, human and animal health. So the work he has done has been outstanding, has been recognized internationally for what he has done. So he's been an outstanding scientist in this field.
Also being recognized for contribution in the field of science is Errol Anthony Rickman, Jamaica's very own astronomer.
Astronomy was regarded as the first phase of science in the world. From people started looking up in the sky without anything and checking the stars. Ever since I was in school, I had an interest in the skies. And in those days, I used to go to an elementary school, and the teacher used to take us outside to, for when the sun was passing straight overhead and things like that. I fooled around with it for a while, and I tried to find out if there was an astronomy class in Jamaica. They had one at UWI. But in those days, it was University College of the West Indies. And I found out that the astronomy club was operating in there, and I joined them. I feel very proud of that award. And as I said to one of my friends, the important thing is not me personally, but the club, the astronomy club. Some very illustrious people who started the club in the past, and they have never got any recognition. And I'm really proud to be able to say that I am the awardee for this thing. I have been doing the Galileoscope program, which is a very important thing to us. We give kids this kit, which they can make up a telescope. They can see exactly how the telescope works. They look for the concave lens and the convex lens and put them together and fit them in the groove, and it's finished, you know. And each set of children that come into the school, we ask them to pull it down and set it up again for them, for the other that come in. So it's an ongoing thing, you know. And for the small telescope like that, it's very good. The whole system looks very, very good.
Professor Gerald Laylaw and Errol Rickman have worked assiduously over the years, transforming the scientific field, creating a foundation for like-minded individuals to pursue and attain their goals.
National Heroes Day is a holiday celebrated here in Jamaica on the third Monday in October. It celebrates the country's 7 national heroes and highlight modern everyday heroes. See, a hero is a person who is admired for their courage, their outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. These qualities are inspiring for current and future generations to help Jamaica grow, which is why we set aside this day every year as a country to say thank you for your service. You can watch the Heroes Day ceremony tomorrow on television starting at 9 a.m. as we recognize those individuals who continue to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Until then, send your feedback on today's show to JamaicaMagazine@jis.gov.jm. You can also follow us on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, there's Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
My name is Christelle Harris. You're watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
The Mona School of Business and Management hosted its 4th business conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and Business Access TV was there to bring you the highlights. Stay tuned.
Welcome on behalf of the Mona School of Business and Management to our 4th biennial conference. We're here to discuss delivering on the promise of entrepreneurship, and it is critical at this juncture that Jamaica in particular and the rest of the Caribbean have been going through all sorts of structural and fiscal and monetary adjustments. These are necessary but not sufficient. And entrepreneurship is clearly one of the ways in which we capitalize on a more robust financial platform that we have. And today we'll be looking both at research and examples from the Jamaica, the Caribbean, and the global audience. In that context, I would like to welcome all our visitors and presenters who have come from the Caribbean, the USA, and Europe, and I'd like to thank you for attending. We look forward to having very interesting conversations over the 3 days, and as has been our custom, to have generated research and publications arising out of the conference to advance knowledge. Our goal is to provide a link between the academy and the business community in a more direct way than other faculties and departments at the university. I therefore welcome not just this interaction between the school and the wider community, but we hope to use it as a springboard to forge even better partnerships.
I've noticed that the title of the opening plenary is Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Growth, Unlocking the Potential in the Jamaican Economy. So I presume that within that is the message that entrepreneurship and innovation have something to do with growth. And it's a fair assumption. And that is perhaps why we are being told by the Economic Growth Council to unleash our entrepreneurial spirit. We are being told by the World Bank to become more innovative. We're told by various members of the political directorate to take more risks and invest in new areas. So it would appear that there is a growing perception that there is, in fact, a link between entrepreneurship and growth. The private sector organization of Jamaica and the Jamaica Bankers Association are finally reaching out to small and medium-sized entrepreneurs to get them to formalize their operations. So all of this is good. I think there's an energy that is starting. Unfortunately, that has happened before, but there is an energy that's starting that we need to keep going. And we need to understand that, or figure out whether it is a magic bullet or it is the beginning of a new paradigm that must be adopted by all of us across the board in order for us to secure mature development as a nation, as a society. I think we need to take a look at the historical context of our country so that we understand not only where we are or we got here, but we can try and use it to map where we're going. But before I do that, I just wanted to give a commercial plug for the efforts of the Jamaica Bankers Association and the member bankers for the initiative to allow access to finance and to encourage access to finance for the SMEs and the medium-sized businesses. It's important for us to understand that the current definition of an SME is a business entity having between 1 and 50 employees and an annual turnover of less than $150 million. So that is the spectrum of enterprises that we at the PSOJ and the JBA are trying to capture. And the aim is to bring greater awareness of this SME sector to the extremely numerous and detailed programs that the government's access to finance agenda has established since 2016. And also, we want to provide input and support for the adoption and the expansion of the access to finance program across most of the stakeholder sectors through a process of education, facilitation, and familiarization. So the project has two streams. It has the access to finance stream, and it has a reverse factoring program, which is being developed in conjunction with the BDJ to enable small businesses to better manage their receivables. Cash flow is extremely important to small businesses, and we need to assist them in their management of it and in their collection of their debt. So the hope of the program is to foster better relationships between the banks and the small businesses, to simplify the credit processes and to make them easier and more transparent for the small businesses. We want to train the MSMEs, which is the term, in formalizing, regularizing, and structuring their business processes, and to allow them to unlock additional capital to allow for their business expansion.
So as we contemplate how we can deliver on this promise of entrepreneurship in the Caribbean region, in our own Jamaican nation, I invite us to consider those factors which may possibly be standing in the way of us unlocking and unleashing our entrepreneurial potential. As a region and as a nation, we have a reputation of being a creativity powerhouse. We pride ourselves in our ability to come up with creative, original new ideas, and we often proudly hail our national mantras such as Tanya Han and Make Fashion, which speaks to our creative national problem-solving abilities, which allow us to turn any obstacle into an inventive opportunity. Simply put, we are just naturally creative, imaginative, and innovative people. And throughout our history, as a region and as a nation, our creative outputs and our ideas have always garnered global attention. However, in spite of our creative prowess, we seem to have failed to translate our ideas into generating high growth, high worth, high impact entrepreneurial ventures. And so I ponder the question, why do we think that is? Why is it that as a nation and as a region, we have been a plethora of creators in our island, but a dearth of successful entrepreneurs? So to examine this question, I invite us to consider the distinctions between the definitions of creativity and entrepreneurship. Now, the Webster Dictionary defines creativity as the ability to make new things and think of new ideas that we do well. However, it defines entrepreneurship as an entrepreneur as one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risks of a business or an enterprise. I submit that this is the critical differentiator in this definition between who an entrepreneur is as opposed to who a creative is. In that an entrepreneur is somebody who has to and must take risks. This distinction between these two definitions is important because while we as Jamaicans are naturally creative people, we need to consider the question, are we naturally entrepreneurial? Are we naturally risk takers and risk makers, or are we risk averse? In the results of the indices from the Global Resilience Index, which ranks 130 countries around the world by the risk and resilience of their business environments, based on certain factors such as economic indicators, risk factors, and supply chain issues, Jamaica has consistently ranked in the bottom 30 of 130 nations in the study. This might suggest that our national distaste for risk is well-founded. However, if left unchecked, our risk aversion will continue to be our entrepreneurial Achilles heel. So why is it that as a region, we're such risk-averse people? Why do we shy away from risk? I believe it's in part because when we think about entrepreneurial risk, we tend to only focus on the downside versus the upside of risk. A close examination of the term risk suggests that it refers to the effect of uncertainty on meeting organizational outcomes. However, while the effect of uncertainty as an entrepreneurial venture can be both negative and positive, we often only focus on the potential negative effects of risk and uncertainty to the exclusion of the consideration of the positive potential opportunities which risk and uncertainty can also provide. In my opinion, an entrepreneur is someone who sees the future and then sets out to create it. However, creating the future means stepping out into the uncertain and the unknown, and stepping out onto the unknown is risky. Oftentimes, however, when risk-averse entrepreneurs think of the word risk, what comes to mind are only those potential dangers, threats, and negative consequences of undertaking a venture. What if I can't pay my bills? What if a competitor beats me to the market? What if I invest a huge sum of money in the business, but I can't attract enough customers to cover my costs? I submit that this is a flawed view of the concept of risk. To the contrary, as we seek to unlock and unleash our creative and entrepreneurial potential as a region and as a nation, we need to begin to acknowledge that risk and reward are two sides of the same entrepreneurial coin. Consequently, without an active emphasis on entrepreneurial risk-taking and risk-making, we will fail to see the rewards of generating high growth, high impact, high worth entrepreneurial ventures.
Just to give you a little background in terms of what the DBJ does. The DBJ, really, the focus as a development bank is to really improve the lives of all Jamaicans through development financing, capacity building, PPPs, and privatizations. DBJ's role in building the economy, in as much as Howard just mentioned that because of factors, the state has had a big influence on the economy. DBJ's role, the philosophy behind it, is really not to be competing with the private sector or to take the place of the private sector, but really to fill the gaps where they exist. And so over the many decades, DBJ has been involved in lending through the AFIs at affordable rates when interest rates were at sky-high levels, putting in place collateral guarantees for good projects that did not have sufficient collateral to access loans. Things like Ignite program grants for innovation, which now coming up with a reverse factoring, there is capacity building of our entrepreneurs, and the work that I'm doing, which really was focused on access to finance, access to equity finance through the Jamaica Venture Capital Program. When we established the VC program, the whole point was that we originally thought about it as being access to finance, but pretty quickly recognized that it was wider than just money. We had to be building the ecosystem. Everybody had to be ready for a market. Any market has buyers, sellers, as well as the infrastructure. We had none of those in Jamaica, so we had to be building that infrastructure. So it was really a multifaceted program that was developed, training and capacity building. Our fund managers or investors had to be trained, or fund managers or entrepreneurs, our lawyers, accountants. So there was a lot of training. We also put in place the infrastructure to build for our first funds to be started, as well as there are a number of legal, regulatory, and tax issues which have to be addressed. And most importantly, the entrepreneurs, the deal flow has to be there. So in looking at building an ecosystem, we had to be cognizant of, as I mentioned, all the various things. Who are the players? How are they going to be exiting the stock exchange? I know Marlene is going to be talking about that shortly. And, entrepreneurship, as well as what's happening with the SMEs and who are what is the support infrastructure. And we took a lot of lessons. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We took a lot of lessons from what happened in Latin America as they were building their private equity and venture capital ecosystems.
design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business. It's season 12 and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
So I just wanted to just tell you real quick about the IDB Lab, just to put in context where we sit and what we are doing and how we could unlock the potential for entrepreneurship and innovation in Jamaica, even further than we are doing now. I like the way we started the panel. So we started off looking at the research, because research and development is very integral in all that we have to do as SMEs and entrepreneurs and when we're taking on innovation. We looked at the risk approach to it, smart risk taking. We also looked at our history, where we're coming from, because culturally that's still going to be ingrained in us. And then we looked at the capacity building and all the different elements that's needed. So I want to take you through unlocking that potential that's there and first introducing you to IDB Lab. So IDB Lab is a part of the IDB Group. We serve over 650 million persons across the world. We are a part of a group with IDB Invest. IDB works with the government. IDB Invest works with private sector, and then IDB Lab works with different corporate entities, civil society, NGOs, towards solving developmental problems. I'll go back to what Mr. Mitchell had said about inclusiveness. That's what IDB is all about. We are an innovation lab looking at inclusive solutions for Latin America and the Caribbean. We create market-driven solutions. So we look at what the market is doing, what the needs are, where the gaps are, and we work along with the private sector to create those solutions. We also look for what we call transformative impact. How do we create what we call 10x impact, greater impact than we have seen before in the projects that we're looking to do? And we're very focused on vulnerable society. This is the inclusiveness that Mr. Mitchell was talking about. Where does the poor and the disabled and those persons who don't have access to goods or services, how can we help to solve some of those problems, elevating those persons, improving their lives so that they can be contributing to the growth of the society? So I mentioned we work with private sector in creating these projects. They're the ones who are executing on the initiatives.
But I'm going to start this slide, which is the JSE Market Index. And it is an index taken from Bloomberg yesterday, which really shows that point to point from last year, this time to this year, the market index has gone up by 61.76%. And that is showing you really the power of what happens when businesses are financed and the value created at each stage. So you can see that the index speaks about companies and the value that has gone from point of last year to now is an increase of 61.7%. Year to date, 27%. I'm going to share a little bit with you as to why this could happen. let us talk about the stock exchange group. We are 50 years today, this year, and what we did, we set out to ensure that there was confidence in the market by forming the Jamaica Central Securities Depository in 1998. And in order to broaden the services of the financial sector, in 2008, we form the trustee division. And this is in order for persons to have confidence in the market when we talk about funding. When we talk about access to equity capital, one of the main pillars is confidence in the market. So the idea of the stock exchange is that we can raise equity, and that is, being shareholders in your company, but also debts can be raised on the market as well. And every once in a while, we do have some simple innovations that allow for markets to grow and for persons to get money and to grow their business. And so in 2009, we created the junior market, and which shows a collaboration between government and the private sector, which offers, because persons have asked what is offered to incentivize businesses to grow, to access capital. And we have the junior market where, with the government's collaboration, we have a 10-year corporate tax holiday. We also have the support of the depository, as I said before, and we are in 40 clients in 5 CARICOM states. So we are all over the Caribbean. What is our market performance? For the main market, we have 55 companies as at June, and 55 securities and 42 companies. For the junior market, because we have the junior market, as I said, as at June, we have 41 companies. So the companies have come to market and have grown, and representing 38 securities. And we do have a US dollar market also, and that is growing too. So we can see that people are considering as a credible option the stock market to raise capital. Why would you want to go public? Public, when you talk about going public, it's a serious situation. It is one of disclosing your business to all concerned. And many persons are reluctant to do that. But more and more, we are seeing, especially small and medium sized, understanding that it is not so bad. When you come to market, you get these various benefits, enhanced profitability and viability, and more about this company is a larger pool of well-run, profitable and compliant, because compliance is important. And there is a wider pool of investors. When probably 5 or so years ago, you had less persons willing to invest in companies that come to market. So you would have probably 20, 30 investors in any what is called an IPO. Now we have thousands of companies, of investors that will invest in companies. So for those persons who are business people, don't be afraid. Persons will invest in you if you have a credible idea and a good plan. We have seen on the level of the macro level that employment has increased, and it is a sustainable economic growth because of that.
Stop for a second and think about an incentive where you get 100% relief on your corporate tax for 5 years and 50% after. And you have in excess of 2,000 companies registered at the company's office. And we only have 40 since we have opened the junior market. It speaks to a bigger issue. So I have 3 minutes and I just want to touch on 2 quick things. That bigger issue is that significantly more education needs to be given to owners of these companies. We spend too much time trying to hide revenues, etc., in so-called getting a lower tax rate, that you're impacting the value creation, the revenue expansion of your business. So we need to find a way to get to more of those entrepreneurs to let them understand that the more you open up your company is the more you're going to make. Because the tax rate is a percentage of a whole. So if that whole keeps growing, you will always get more than what the government is going to get. I'll touch quickly on the fact that, Neighbor does all these things. We take you from nowhere right up. We fund you with debt, we fund you with equity. The gains have been crazy. But I close by a capital item loan. And it's very, very simple. There's a secondary market for cars. So when you get a loan, the bank has to ensure its principal can be repaid in the event you don't make the payment. So they'll quickly lend you against a car, because if you default on a car, there are a billion people that are willing to buy the car on a second-hand basis. But that is the secret to true funding in this country. If every sector of the economy that you want to pump funding into, you can create a secondary market, that is where you'll start to get a lot of funding. Because with all due respect, all of you guys that want money, you don't want to lose money. I don't want to lose money. The facts say that 8 out of 10 of you are going to blow up the money. That's why it is so difficult. So in my mind, the solution is create an environment that if I will invest in all 10, but the 8 that blows up, give me an incentive. Because right now it's too lopsided. I lose everything when your company blows up, and the best, if I'm lucky, that I'm going to get from you is, Mr. Peart, you're a good guy. Sorry I lost all your money. But guess what? I have another idea. Can you give me some more money for that? It's not going to work. So I finally close by saying, to get these traditional investors to invest in you, you have to come up with a solution that mitigates the risk for them.
Management Accounting Services. Keeping track of business performance is the key to driving future business performance. Having sound, up-to-date, and regular financial reports will ensure you are making well-informed business decisions in relation to matters such as capital expenditure, cost reductions, where future sales growth needs monitoring or driving, under or well-performing staff, or when is the right time to take on new staff. Dodge & Global can help you to prepare interim financial reports and therefore better advise you as to your future tax payments to prevent any surprises at year-end and to smooth out your tax obligations, saving you money. We will have discussions with you regarding the results of these reports and make sure you are aware of any pitfalls or areas that need your attention on a more regular basis. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global, website https://dodgen.global.
Stay current and gain more information on the ever-evolving industry of real estate on Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
So I'm here representing my company and partnering with the Mona School of Business and Management. We at Foswich went public just a year and a half ago. And I'm here to tell you about nuts and bolts, just a few things on the nuts and bolts aspect of going public. One of the fundamental things, a few fundamental things that we had to wrestle with
is going public. What is the value proposition that we are bringing to the market? You know, the space that we are in is electrical lighting, and we made a footprint for us in the LED space where that particular product, the LED product, consumes 20% of the energy that the rest of fluorescent and incandescent light systems would produce, would consume. And so we wanted Jamaica to be clear that are the we're going to be the ones to bring this value to each consumer. And so how do we bring that value to the consumer? When you walk into a store and you see an LED bulb or an LED fixture or something, being untrained, you do not know exactly the properties and how it works and so on. And so we decided, okay, we are going to have to develop a department where we give this information to you. So when you walk in, or when we call you, or when we visit you, we are going to teach you or tell you the features of using the LEDs and the benefits. And so that became a big part of the value that we brought to to the market. We had to therefore acquire or employ engineers, and we call them commercial or engineers that can disseminate information in a forum that people can understand. And so we will have small meetings like these. We call them, industrial mingles, whether it be in Montego Bay, in Mandeville, in Kingston, and we invite 50 to 80 people, and we start talking to them. And before long, they start spreading the news of the value of the product that we were offering. And so we were now defining our way in the market. And in doing that, it gave us the freedom to feel more comfortable later on to go public, because now we were bringing the value that the other competitors were not bringing to the market at the time. And so you have to decide what is it you're going to take to the market. We were not manufacturing any products at that time, or we were not manufacturing them in Jamaica, because we had connections in Far East that we visited and we worked with them to manufacture them, but they were not being manufactured in Jamaica. So we wanted to set ourselves apart from the competition. So one, understand what is it you're bringing to the market and what value you give them when they are to use your goods or services before you are thinking of going public. Is my another thing, and Marlene and Gary touched on it, transparency. It is my wife and I are very private people before last year. We're very private people. Nobody knew anything about us. I mean, it was so difficult for us to open all of our accounting to our senior accountant. We used to manage it. But once we decided after talking about it and thinking about it that we're going to be going public. I do not even have the code to go into my accounts department anymore, because put a system in place and you're not afraid of opening up your books or your business to the public. And so you have to decide that this is the way you want to go and that you're going to go in this way.
So I come to you to talk to you about transforming the world and improving with entrepreneurship, sustainability, and innovation. It's time to turn climate change challenges into growth opportunities. I want to start today by taking a journey with you. Just as I grew up as an only child in Kingston and migrated to the US in high school, think about your experiences and where in Jamaica you're from, where you lived, where you grew up, your family, and what those experiences were like, what you aspired to be, and what you were frustrated with. It is said that our upbringing and life experiences shape us, the way we look at the world and our perspective. I think about my upbringing Born in a family from the great and no longer forgotten parish of St. Thomas, and raised in a matriarchal household. I think about the days when my grandmother made soursop juice and mango juice every time I visited her. I think about those frigid cold showers and the smell of kerosene lamps, and during intermittent power outages, and buckets of water because of the water shut off. And the other things like how I still boil water to this day, no matter where in the world I'm from. I see potential innovation in the challenges in our day to day life. Sometimes we're missing ideas and solutions from what is right in front of us. Sometimes we accept what has been occurring as commonplace, but I encourage every one of you to disrupt this status quo. Use those challenges as opportunities for innovation. Steve Jobs said, if you're going to make connections which are innovative, you have to have not the same bag of experiences as everyone else. You're going to have to make connections, and then you won't be innovative. When you think of the most successful tech companies being created today, it's either from Silicon Valley, Israel, Europe, or Asia. However, right here in Jamaica, we have exported our own brand of innovation through music, food, dance, etc., and even the pushback. It is our family experiences, the history of migration, our culture and diversity of our people that makes us special and unique. They are the ingredients for a new crop of innovations that can be utilized to address climate change challenges. I believe that sustainability and climate change is the business and economic opportunity of the century. The world is under a climate emergency. If we don't, in the next 10 years, if we don't reduce the temperature by 1.5 degrees, we will be in a serious catastrophe. According to the UN, limiting global warming means that 420 million fewer people being exposed to severe heat waves, survival of tropical reefs, loss of fewer plants and animal species, and the protection of forests and wetland habitats. Climate change affects every industry, but most notably health, agriculture, water, and food, water and energy. Because of the increased acceptance and the urgency, there has been a rapid increase of funding, governmental projects, and new startup innovations. The capital markets have also taken notice and are integrating environmental consideration, social impact, and governance into business and investment decisions. They are reallocating trillions of dollars to address this challenge. This is an enabling environment that presents an opportunity to create new products, new services, and solutions that will help and adapt and mitigate the effects of climate change for everyone. Furthermore, because of because the islands in general are disproportionately affected, in some cases it gives us first mover advantage to innovate and create solutions in a small environment before scaling internationally. The time to innovate and take advantage of new business and social impact opportunity is now. We are currently feeling the effects of climate change. Last month, as many of you know, in Kingston, there was record temperatures. Kingston was not alone. In Alaska, the record temperature reached 32 degrees. In southern France, the record temperature reached 45.5 degrees Celsius. And it's just going to get hotter from here. As higher temperatures become more common, the demand for cooling devices will rise, driving the need for green innovation in the sector. Air conditioning is a twofold problem. It requires the use of more energy and uses chemicals that are harmful to global warming. There are hotter days coming, and there is both a need for new solutions and technologies that can keep us cool, but also reduce the effects of climate change.
Corporate restructuring services. In today's evolving commercial and economic environment, businesses are continually seeking opportunities to manage operating costs and tax positions, as well as contain cash expenditures. Entity structuring can help achieve these goals, but often presents many challenges for multinational corporations. In addition, the OECD's Base Erosion and Profit Shifting (BEPS) proposals are expected to impact the bottom line of affected organizations and result in some business restructuring. Crow Jamaica delivers an integrated approach to clients' corporate and reorganization needs. Services include simplifying group structures, executing domestic and cross-border transactions including mergers, demergers, disposals, and company migrations, transferring assets and business units, aligning legal structures to business models, establishing national or regional hubs, converting subsidiary company structures to branch structures and vice versa, integrating legal structures following a merger or acquisition, providing practical advice and assistance throughout the planning, development, and implementation phases of corporate reorganizations. Crow Jamaica assists businesses and other advisors in developing and implementing efficient, cost-effective legal structures and business operating models. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com. Website www.crowjm.com.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So today I will be speaking about Airbnb, which is very topical. The emergence of Airbnb in Jamaica and some of the debates and concerns that we have. I'm going to be pointing to what I consider to be a research gap and some questions, a very brief literature review, tell you a little bit about my methodology, what I found out, and some preliminary conclusions. I want to say that this is part of a larger body of work, and it's very much still in progress. So two things, forgive me if everything isn't there, and secondly, I really welcome your comments, which will help me to, I can utilize them as I go forward. All right, so these are some of the headlines that we see, that we have seen over time. I just went to our local newspapers, and you can see there's quite a debate happening, and this happens everywhere Airbnb goes. Very few people are neutral. They either love it or they hate it. So most recently, in the last week, we have had the issue of taxation come up, and the whole issue about how much are people earning from Airbnb currently. The last comment that really caught my attention was from the JHTA, Jamaica Hotel and Tourism Association. And they're saying, tax because we need a level playing field. And what is in quotation there, you can read for yourself. But in essence, the JHTA's position is that, look, these people are legitimate competitors to us, and we don't see why, if they are competing in our space, they shouldn't have to have the same, my words, burden that we have. So, what I have been noticing in this debate, there's a lot of talk, as I showed with the headlines, about Airbnb and home sharing. Airbnb, of course, is just one of the many companies, but it's a name that everybody knows. So, and it's what I'm actually focusing my work on. But there's a lot of stuff we don't know. For example, are they really unfair threats? Are they tapping into the same market as the hotels? Or are they just little people trying to make some extra cash? GHTA doesn't think so, that they're little people, but how much do we really know? Do they offer similar products? And in essence, it comes down to one question: what exactly are they doing? So I have some research questions that I will show you again in a little bit. But in essence, what I'm trying to understand is from the perspective of the host. So rather than going macro, I'm actually going to go micro, because hosts are the ones who make or break an Airbnb product. So that's what I will be looking at. So as I said, I'll mention these research questions in a little bit. But to just talk about the host, who is the host? Well, one definition says a good host makes his guests very happy, makes his guests happy while they're in his care. So that's in essence what a host would be required to do. But in addition to that, a host has a legal and moral obligations. So if some of us have studied hospitality law, and we know that coming back from common law, innkeeper's liability, and so on, you have the obligation to ensure that your guests are kept safe and healthy. But in addition to that, there's this moral code from many religions and traditions, meaning that you have to take the person in. In addition to that, in Jamaica, we have very strict legislation. And for a homestay, which currently Airbnb would fall under, there are 11 standards established by TPD, Tourism Product and Development Company, that have to be met. And they're currently looking at new legislation, they say. But currently, this is where it would fall. And hosts should also receive Team Jamaica training. B&B hosts, bed and breakfast hosts, are often lifestyle entrepreneurs, and that's a nice way of saying they don't necessarily do it for the money. There's a lot of romance and mystery associated with the concept of bed and breakfast. And the interesting thing with Airbnb is, it sounds like breakfast, bed and breakfast, and they're built on that notion, although they technically, they don't have to serve breakfast, and very few actually do. But remember that many of them are lifestyle entrepreneurs. And the services that they're expected to provide, they're very intimate, customer service oriented, personalized, and so on, because in many cases, you're coming into the home of the host. Airbnb now, what they say is almost anyone can be a host. That's what, if you go to their website, they will say that. But what you may not understand when you're following up on that, and they also say that there are 3 steps: list the space, decide how to host, and welcome the first guest. And that sounds really simple as 1, 2, 3. But in reality, each of those steps assumes a whole body of knowledge which everybody may not have. You have to understand how to market. You have to understand how to do your pricing according to the season, according to supply and demand, and so on. And of course, how to manage your property and to interact with guests.
This afternoon, I'm going to be presenting on Airbnb and delivering the promise of Airbnb, the promise of entrepreneurship to Jamaica. And as my colleague mentioned, Dr. Craig, about the whole issue of Airbnb, it's a very controversial topic now. To tax or not to tax, those are the issues. But today for my presentation, I'm going to be providing and sharing some data with you about Airbnb's performance in Jamaica in particular. And please note that this is a part of a larger body of study. I'm actually studying Airbnbs not only in Jamaica, but also in Cuba and Cayman Islands and Bahamas. So the sample that you see me extrapolate data from is a part of a wider body of knowledge that is also currently ongoing and in process. So as you can see, it's the whole business of home sharing. So the idea is not lost upon us. And another thing that we want to drive home is that the whole notion of Airbnb is really not new to the Jamaican tourism industry, Caribbean tourism industry by extension. We've always opened our homes to guests. It's just the way in which we're doing it is different. And technology has created a platform that allows for greater access to persons who are also seeking this kind of intimate relationship and more authentic experiences. So we're going to get into Again, some of the controversy I also took from the headlines because it's so topical. And as you can see, there's so many issues coming out. How many guests we're actually welcoming, uh, where they're going, who are they staying with, to tax or not to tax. That's also a big question that is trying to be answered now. So it's very topical. But again, just to frame and contextualize it, the Airbnb is a wider, it's a part of the wider sharing economy. And I love that term, as you mentioned, the Uberification, is it? Yes, fantastic. Because really that's what it is. It stems from these radical innovations that allow people to make extra money. That's really what it is. So I looked at the literature again from sources and what persons are saying about the sharing economy, which we're now a part of. And that is why everybody's trying to get their slice of the pie. So, Botsman in particular had mentioned that it's very hard for us to define in totality what the sharing economy is. However, Ryan and Botsman in 2017 and 15 respectively looked at it from calling it a collaborative economy, the on-demand services economy, the gig economy, the freelance economy. So if you hear any of these terms, they're all used interchangeably. And basically it refers to the sharing activity of underutilized assets with the help of IT-based technology. So it's nothing new. It's just again the platform in which we're presenting it is a little different. So, the main drivers towards this economy, how did it emerge and why are we here and why is it so important to us? The main drivers is basically consumer behavior. We're switching now from ownership to access. Now, I'm a part of a very unique group of consumers and producers called the millennials, and there are a few in this room. And we're kind of changing and shaping the way in which we consume things. So we're looking less to ownership rather, and more to access. And that is what is causing all these radical innovations to take place right across our landscape, and in particular in tourism. Now, the biggest success factors of the sharing economy is online reputation. And my colleague again, Anne Crick, also mentioned, the feedback system and rankings in terms of host and super host and all of that. Very important for us to look at. So these are some of the brands that come about under the sharing economy: Uber, Airbnb, Homestay, Lyft, WeWork, all of these, Craigslist, Couchsurfing, all of them are part of the sharing economy. So peer-to-peer accommodation, this is where people provide accommodation directly to consumers using a digital platform. And these are temporary stays in the homes. Airbnb in particular for P2P accommodation, most people call it Airbnb, but there are also other platforms that are very much relevant to us and is affecting the Jamaican tourism accommodation landscape: TripAdvisor, HomeAway, and also Booking.com. Now, just to share some data with you, globally, peer-to-peer accommodations, they're 7% of total accommodation around the world, 8 million beds. It's estimated that the number of transactions that took place was actually 75 billion US in 2017. And the trends and findings, again, the millennials are the ones who are driving this form of innovation. And also, it is not limited to budget travelers. It's not just about cheap travel, but efficient travel as well. And it was initially for the leisure market, but we find from my studies that the business traveler is also another trending market. So for entrepreneurs who are trying to get into Airbnb, an aspect that you could look at in terms of growth is catering to the needs of the business traveler. So Jamaica, what is happening with Jamaica, and what does it mean for us going forward? Jamaica was chosen as one of the countries for a pilot study by the World Bank in 2018. So they came to the Ministry of Tourism and they wanted to study peer-to-peer accommodations in the Caribbean, and Jamaica was the country chosen. But why is the World Bank interested in peer-to-peer accommodation? It is said that it can help to eliminate poverty, boost shared prosperity, and also its contributions for income generation for a broader group of people, in particular women, which I'll be looking at tomorrow. So in Jamaica, just to put things into perspective, there is over 5,000 active listings on Airbnb in Jamaica, 7,600 in total. So that's a recent statistics that's coming from Airbnb. So we have 7,600 hosts, 5,000 active, which means they're actually getting bookings and doing well. TripAdvisor Rentals also has 2,300 listings. HomeAway has 950 listings, and Booking.com has 1,124. So it's not just Airbnb, but it's just that Airbnb is one of the platforms that has seen the most growth throughout the years.
Thanks for staying with us for coverage of the Mona School of Business and Management's 4th Business Conference. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant. Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 100, 50 will actually transfer and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIP, that in 2-3 years the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start their production and going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected. And then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the other level, as well as some persons that come in with those proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSIF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UE who came to be part of the panel, and just to remind you that the JSIF is here and we're investing for community development.
We We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
I am Jackie Tyson, and you're watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Hi, my name is Diane Plummer and I'm the CEO of True Shade Cosmetics Limited. I was studying mechanical engineering in Sweden, and as a black woman living in a predominantly white population, it was very difficult for me to find makeup for my own skin tone. So most times when you go to the department stores or you go to the pharmacies there, all the shades for the black girls have finished because very few black women are there rushed to get all the different shades. So having a background in chemical engineering, I just decided, you know, I should be able to make my own makeup. So I started to do some personal researching and then started to develop makeup right there in my dorm room. The business actually started in 2013, the research aspect of it. So I did research for about 1 year, and then I officially started making products in 2014. True Shade Cosmetics Limited actually started with making foundations and loose powders. Then I decided to start making other products that are generally found in a cosmetics line. So I started with the bronzers, the blush, and then I did the eyeshadows and other supporting products. Now I also started in skincare because I believe that you should definitely take care of the skin beneath the makeup. So, you know, everybody wants this whole flawless finish, but what happens when you wipe that makeup off? You still want to feel like, oh yes, I have a flawless skin. So I started skincare products as well. The skincare line consists of several masks and serums. There's also face wash, and I use as much local ingredients as possible. So I take advantage of aloe vera. I mean, our grandmothers have always told us that aloe vera is very good for the skin. I also use a lot of lemongrass, coconut, and of course our hemp. It's very, very good. Another interesting product that came up out of a personal need for me was my translucent mousse. So I have very oily skin, and back home in Jamaica now the place is hot and I'm sweating and I'm shiny. So I wanted something that could give me a nice matte finish. So I came up with a translucent mousse, which is basically threefold. You can wear it alone, you know, to give it that nice cool look that we all want sometimes. And it gives you, you know, it just zaps away the oil from your face. And it's something that I'm really, really proud of, and it's actually one of my best sellers as well. I want True Shade to be a natural line, something that uses a lot of local ingredients as well. And a lot of the natural products are suitable for persons who have sensitive skin and eczema. So another thing that I want to be at the forefront of my line is the fact that vegan products. So I don't use any kind of animal testing at all, and I'm actually submitting documents to a UK agency to ensure that I have that cruelty-free stamp on all my products. So I'm an animal lover, and I definitely believe in saving the bunnies, and you know, a lot of these tests that they use on animals is it's a bit cruel. So in going for cruelty-free status, I know I'll be, you know, saving an animal somewhere, right? And also appealing to, you know, persons who are also animal lovers. So I cater to persons of not only sensitive skin, but for all skin types and tones. So I wanted your True Shade to be very personalized for everyone. So there's about 23 different shade formulations that exist. And out of those 23, there are about 8 active shades in Jamaica. I also do custom shade formulations for persons who have difficulty finding their correct shade of makeup. And generally that's for persons on both ends of the spectrum. So very, very light-skinned persons and very, very dark-skinned persons always have a difficulty finding their correct shade. So I cater to basically everyone because the products are made in-house, so we do customizations as well. Since 2013 up until the middle part of 2016, it was all funded out of pocket. So it was money from my savings and of course family members, close friends who were able to, you know, maybe let's say buy a mixer for me, purchase some ingredients, things like that. So it all started out of pocket and, you know, with friends and family. And in the latter part of 2016, I was awarded the Ignite grant from the Development Bank of Jamaica, and that would be used to procure more upgraded equipment and also packaging and to just refine the whole look and feel of the brand and also increase the capacity, production capacity. As a new company, it will take some time before you actually start seeing the profits, but I think it's in a very good position because my vision for Your True Shade is for it to be the leading brand in cosmetics in the Caribbean and its diaspora. And of course, the diaspora spans all across the globe. So I do, you know, in my future, I do see great profitability for my company. Currently, products are available at Discount Beauty in Kings Plaza. We also have selected products available at Rev Jewelry. There's Divine Living Essentials in Montego Bay. And we've recently wrapped up discussions with Fontana to have products in the Fontana locations in Kingston and Montego Bay. We also have products in Barbados at Welsh Wear. And there's a small section in Japan where a Jamaican lady that's there, she actually buys products from me to sell over there in Japan. And of course my e-commerce website, yourtrueshade.com, persons can buy products all across the world. It started out as a one-woman show, right? But I get help from my brother, and I recently got 2 interns thanks to JSIF. So Kenisha and Tashika they just joined me, so they helped me with not only the makeup application aspect, but also in the production side as well. I think it's a pretty good atmosphere where, you know, persons, they can share different ideas. You know, if something is wrong, then they can say something. So it's a very open door kind of policy that I have. And, you know, I really want that because I'm growing as an entrepreneur and they're also growing in their different careers and they may see something that I don't see and I can also impart knowledge to them as well. So it's a field where we both learn from each other. Well, because I also lecture chemical engineering at UTech, my days are structured where I lecture about 15 hours a week at UTech, and the remaining hours I would work, you know, whether it's in production, whether it's, you know, liaising with suppliers, making sure that the stores have products. So my typical day when I'm working with True Shade would start off with me making my to-do list. What are the things that I need to get done today? Who are the persons I need to call? What's the social media looking like? Things like that. And I also try to delegate certain activities so I can work more on my business. I'm the kind of person where when I'm working on something, I just dive straight into it. And because of that, certain things may get left behind. So, you know, for me, striking that balance was always a bit difficult because, you know, I've been known to be a workaholic. So what I've decided to do and what I've started doing is to block out certain periods of my calendar that are just my time and nobody can touch my time. True Shade cannot touch my time when it's on those specific days, because balance is very important. And, you know, even though, yes, you want to work a lot on the business, you still need to make time for the persons who have been there for you and, you know, family and friends and, you know, go and socialize, things like that. So I block out selective times in my calendar for those kinds of activities.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So there are several different products in the line, and of course we started out with our foundation. So it offers medium to full coverage, and it has concealing properties and also SPF 15. So even though we do have our sunscreen, you still get some amount of protection from the foundation itself. So what makes True Shade unique is the fact that it's suitable for persons with sensitive skin and eczema. So that's the main reason why I started the line as well, because I also have very sensitive skin. I have very bad eczema. So whenever I would use certain brands, I would get a little breakout here and there. So I wanted something that would not irritate my eczema and something that would offer me good coverage and very light and breathable. So that is what separates your True Shade from any other brands out there. I generate new ideas by looking at what's there in industry. You have to keep up to date with what's happening in industry. So I would research, let's say from in the latter part of, let's say last year, what are the upcoming 2017 makeup trends? And then I would start working on things like that. What are the spring trends, summer trends, winter and fall? So, you know, just keep abreast of what is happening in industry. When I just started, of course, I didn't have any customers. So I started to go to some of these trade shows, the different events where I could rent a booth, rent a table space. And once I'm there, I basically have my computer, or I would have a tablet, and my assistant or myself would collect data from persons, and I would send them a newsletter, send them a WhatsApp as to what's happening, and I will basically grow the business from there. We also make a lot of use of social media as well, our Instagram or Facebook, and I do corporate visits because that's very important for me, because going into the working world, the persons are there, those are the persons who basically have the spending ability. So I do a lot of corporate visits to different companies as well. One of the main challenge that I had was, I know most entrepreneurs, they say that financing is the major problem. Yes, that is a major problem, but I'm going to also talk about something else. One of the other major problems that I had was to get persons to believe in the brand, to basically buy into the brand. So, you know, that is very difficult to convince persons, and a lot of Jamaicans, they're very set in their ways. You know, as it's a lot of consumers, you know, they're used to a particular brand. What sets you apart from, you know, the other brands that they're used to for, let's say, 5-10 years. So that's, you know, that has been a bit difficult for me. But once someone sits in my chair and they try the product, they're sold. They love it. So, and then I'll be able to, you know, grow the brand from there. As with any new product, sometimes it may be a hit and miss. So you have to keep revamping as you go along. So maybe when I just started making some of my foundations, maybe they didn't have enough coverage and things like that. But then you learn along the way from reviews, from clients, reviews from, you know, other makeup artists who have used it. And then I was able to further develop and work on it so that it can not only stand true to being something for sensitive skin and eczema, but also be able to give you that nice flawless finish that they would have been used to wearing, with their other makeup brands. So, I've learned from it by just trial and error and customer feedback as well. We're all human, we're all prone to making mistakes, right? So let's say, something happens with a product and a client calls me about it, then, I would, of course, apologize for the inconvenience, and then I would, let's say, maybe I'd offer them a free gift, or, let's say a 10% discount on future purchases and things like that. So that's how I try to do my damage control if there's any mistakes or mishap with products. So one of the things that I really want to do is to have an expansion into the different parishes, because, for me to stay true to my vision in being the leading cosmetic brand of the Caribbean, I would need to basically penetrate the different areas of the Caribbean, right? So my strategy is to, market penetration, going into the different islands, through the different trade shows, things like that. There are selective shows that I like to go to. So let's say Jamaican Made Christmas in December, that was very successful for me. Also Collection Moda as well. And there are different companies often have their wellness expos. I tend to love doing corporate events, as I had said before. And of course, I always try to reach out to media personnel to, let's say, to see if they want me to be on their morning program, a feature in the newspapers, things like that. So I try to use all media, all marketing platforms as well. I'm willing to, work very hard in my business, doing what's best for the business as well, regardless. And, to basically ensure that I stand true to what my vision is, which is to be the leading cosmetic brand of the Caribbean and its diaspora. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes, working very hard, maintaining the customer relations as well, doing my networking with different companies and individuals and different organizations as well. I do believe that there is a structure or a pattern to being a successful entrepreneur. So the main thing for that is to just be resilient, never give up. No matter how many persons tell you no, that can lead you, that just means you're closer to someone telling you yes. And even if persons keep telling you no, just once you believe in yourself and seek out all the options that are there, try and network with persons, try and get a mentor, things like that, then you will definitely be on a path to success. Success for me is being able to help others, because using a business such as a beauty care business, you're helping persons to basically accentuate their beauty, to feel a lot better about themselves. So success for me is to helping others to feel better about themselves. I like to channel whatever I'm feeling into making something, into doing something. So if I'm feeling a fear that, okay, maybe this is not going to be successful, then I work a lot harder on it. So I just try to channel whatever I'm feeling into, let's say, creating a new product, creating a new look, coming up with something new. So I try to channel whatever I'm feeling, even if it's fear.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life runs art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
There's only one.
to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Different skin cleansers that I spoke about. This one is our red clay skin cleanser. So it's basically like a face detox. So it's a foaming cleanser. So you won't have to worry about, lathering itself. It actually already comes in the airless pump that can already give you the foam. I'm motivated by being, the pioneer of something. So being the first person to actually start a makeup line in Jamaica that is actually made here, that's such a good thing. It's a good feeling to know that, okay, I'm written somewhere down in history. So, I'm motivated by being a pioneer and, of course, helping other persons as well. I know this is going to sound very typical, but I think my greatest inspiration is definitely my mother. There are days when I feel like, I just can't do this anymore in terms of, trying to get persons to buy into the brand. And she's like, Diane, don't let me ever hear you say that again. She got really upset with me for even thinking something like that. So, she is, a very good inspiration for me. And, she gives me a lot of motivation and to keep pushing because, as entrepreneurs, we're supposed to be resilient. And it's good that, you can have persons to rely on. There are days when you feel like, boy, you just really can't be bothered with this. And to have someone there who is a family member, close friend, who can basically push you along, it's a very good feeling. And my favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur right now is basically meeting all these different kinds of persons and, being able to share the brand with other persons, get insight from them. And, for me, just being able to meet other persons and, just learn from other persons, especially older persons or older, not only in terms of their age, but also in terms of their life as a business person. And, for them to relate to you tips, things that you should really look out for. For me, it's a very important thing. I would basically attribute my growing success, because I'm not there yet, I'm on my way, to, having a good support system and also to, my belief in God, to know that everything will work out. As long as I push forward, and do my part, then, God will do the rest, as long as it's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I basically, I commit my business to God and say, Lord, just use this to the greater glory and honor of your name. And, having a good support system from family and close friends, that's also very important for me. The most satisfying moment thus far is being a recipient of the 2016 DBJ grant, which would definitely grow my business and take it to the next level, take it to where I definitely see your true shade. So I can basically get upgraded packaging to create all the wonderful makeup that's out there, not just the foundations, powders, but to create my own eyeshadows, things like that. Also to get cutting-edge equipment that can increase my capacity and being able to supply the Caribbean, European countries, Asia, that's what I want. My hobbies, currently I wanted to have a more balanced lifestyle, because before I was such a workaholic, working so much, doing the lecturing at UTech and doing True Shade stuff and, forgetting about taking care of myself sometimes. So with blocking out my calendar, I can say, okay, I started Sprite training, so I've started the gym. Working out is a very good feeling, and once I push my body a lot, then I'd be able to say, okay, there's nothing I can't do. There's no stress that's there that I haven't felt, in the gym. So that's something that's new for me. I also spend quality time with my family and close friends, maybe going for a drink, going to dinner, and just sitting at my mommy's place and just lying down on her bed and just chatting and joking with my two brothers, things like that. Okay, what makes me happy is basically knowing that my mother is okay, knowing that I will be able to take care of her and so on. Another thing that makes me happy is traveling. I love to travel. I've been to almost all of the European countries and I want to travel a lot around Asia and things like that. So traveling makes me very happy. The sacrifice that I had to make to, get my company to move to where I want it to be, because I'm not there yet. The first one was to basically get up and leave Jamaica and decide to go into a foreign country that I don't know anyone. And, if I didn't make that initial step, then there would be no Your True Shade at this moment. So I think that is one of the major sacrifices I had to do, leave my job, and go to a foreign country. Being here, back home in Jamaica, the sacrifice that I still have to make is to, a lot of times friends call you up, oh, let's go here. And I'm like, I really can't because I need to work on this project in my company. Sacrificing a lot of these personal time, especially in the initial stages, sacrificing in terms of, saving the money, because the money that I can use to go to a very expensive party, boy, that could basically buy me some nice packaging, that could buy me some ingredients. So a lot of those sacrifices I had to make in the initial stages because my funding came straight out of pocket to actually start a company. So of course I had to make a lot of sacrifices financially for it to happen. My future plans for True Shade would be to basically have an expansion into the different areas of cosmetics, because currently I don't make all the things that you would find in a cosmetic line. So I want to be able to make all these things right here in Jamaica so that, I can say Your True Shade basically has all the things that are necessary in a cosmetic line. Not only the foundation and the powders, bronzers and blushes, but to move into the mascaras, pencils, all these things, and just to see my brand out there and, that everybody will be using everything from the line, from the skincare part to the makeup section. So my advice to any person who is desirous of starting a business is to, basically narrow in as to what exactly you want to do. What would be your target market, right? Come up with a plan. I love to make my little to-do list. I like to make my little plans, and I have so many different books that have so many things written down in them. So it's just to come up with a clear plan, seek advice from persons. So one of the things that I did when I came back to Jamaica was to seek out all the different agencies that are out there. I went to JBDC. I was able to get business advice. I found out about the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship and became one of the Branson entrepreneurs, and that was a very excellent program for me. I also sought out the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, and because I'm a manufacturer, they would basically guide me as to what are the things I need to do as it relates to customs, as it relates to trade board, things like that. Join other organizations, for example, the Women's Entrepreneurship Network of the Caribbean. So anywhere that you can go that you can get a lot of information about developing not only as a business person, but developing as an individual, and you can basically network with other persons as well. So once you come up with a clear idea, seek out how you can achieve these, and then make sure that you join different associations and meet with different persons as well.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
This is Tay Diggs. You are watching Business Access TV.
On this week's show, we'll get to explore Jamaica's greatest historical home, the Rose Hall Great House, while getting to hear stories and tales of the legendary White Witch of Rose Hall, Annie Palmer. We'll hear how she ruled while she reigned in the 18th century and how the estate has changed since then. Don't go anywhere, more Home Sweet Home after this. Owner and chairperson of the Rose Hall Estate. Welcome to Home Sweet Home.
Well, it's so nice to be with you.
Thank you very much. Now, tell us about your role here and your late husband as well.
Well, our love affair with Jamaica began many years ago in the early 60s when John bought all of Rose Hall. And he was so enchanted with the people that he really wanted to do the Rose Hall Great House over as a tribute to their history and as part of their legacy. So John began that development with the Great House, and then the Prime Minister Hugh Shearer asked him to build a chain hotel. So he called his friend Kimmons Wilson and said, could you build us a Holiday Inn? And he said, if you build it, I'll run it. And the Prime Minister was so happy with his success, he said, you know, now we need a convention hotel. So John called his friend from Pan Am and said, he was chairman of Intercontinental, and he said, would you build an Intercontinental? And John said, well, you know, he again said, if you build it, I'll run it. And so we had started the process of developing Rose Hall. And it began with the Great House, with the hotels, wanting to create an incredible resort so that people could enjoy the Jamaica that he had met when he came here after a gubernatorial race. We then developed the Palms, a small 2-story development right on the water, and ultimately with the Ritz-Carlton right on the beach. It was an incredible 5-star, I think the only 5-star on the island at the time. And what it's done is opened up the island so that the world could enjoy what we all knew, but hadn't yet communicated to them. Okay. So we've done a lot of things that go beyond the hotel business. We really noticed the need for a strong infrastructure, and while the government was doing the airport and the highway, we were doing a wastewater treatment plant. We already did drinking water when we opened our first hotel, and so the idea that we might continue a utility part of the company began, and we've continued to develop that. It goes so much beyond a tourist visit when they can go up into the hills and see things. We love for them to visit Johnny Cash's house. He lived here for 40 years in the Cinnamon Hill Great House. And
Where is that?
It's just up above the Great House here. And as a result, we have developments of lots and beautiful homes along both of those golf courses. So we're doing residential. We sell development sites for large hotels. Right. And the process just keeps evolving.
Okay, so now can you talk to us about
Yes, ma'am.
I'd love to hear about the history of it and the tales of Annie Palmer.
Oh, Annie, oh my gosh. The house first belonged to a lovely Palmer, Rosa Palmer. And through the process of her husband dying and Rosa and Annie getting control of it, we had this Haitian voodoo trained young woman who was 4'9" become in charge of the house. And she was quite seductive, quite, I'm not even sure the right word for it, but after her affairs, she would either eliminate the people because she must have wanted them to be discreet and not talk, and that was
Eliminate meaning kill?
Yes. So anyone that had been involved with her was killed. And the slaves knew that when she would go around the property. So at night they would just duck into their houses when they would hear the hoofs of her horses coming around. She killed her husbands, her 3 husbands, and then it was the plantation manager that she loved that was her downfall, because he had fallen in love with Taku, the witch doctor's niece. And she put a curse on the niece who died from it. And on the night of independence, it was Taku who came into the great house and murdered her in her bed, and I guess led the rebellion on Rose Hall. It was one of the few great houses not burned down, but it was a bad run of treatment and not one that anyone could be proud of, and shame on her. So when we bought it, it was in ruins, and we thought we wanted to restore it. We wanted to keep the story of slavery and the history, and even how horrible she was, because you don't whitewash bad behavior, and it was part of it, and that's how we got Annie Palmer, the White Witch of Rose Hall.
Was that her real name?
Yes.
That was her real name?
Yes.
Do you know, I know you've touched on it a little bit, about Jamaica at the time when this property was built?
Well, sugar was such a big product for the island. And in those days, we had all the British owners, and they would have their main estates in England, and the firstborn inherited everything. So that second and third son said, well, I'll go to the West Indies and make my fortune, because there's nothing left for me in England. And so they would come over and they would be captured by the rum, the beauty, the women, and some of them succeeded in doing tremendous development and production, and some of them fell by the wayside under the lure of, rum and whatever. And so they built their owners' homes, and they've always built them far enough back so that the Spanish pirates coming up, the cannons couldn't reach the home. So when you see the great houses all along the coast, they're all just far enough back out of cannon reach. And each estate would be called the Rose Hall Great House. At Cinnamon Hill, it's Cinnamon Hill Great House. You have the Greenwood Great House, depending on which plot of land it was sitting on.
Right. And you mentioned some other residential properties. Can you give us some more detail about that?
Oh, we have some wonderful, luxurious homes on the Caribbean Heights, which is on the White Witch, the West Indies Estate, the Greens, which is on the Cinnamon Hill Golf Course. And they're just amazing, but you can't have an incredible tourist destination if you don't think about the workers. And you can't have them living in Ocho Rios or Negril trying to get to work on time. So we have one large development of affordable living up in Rhine Park, just on the Mount Zion Road, and we're contemplating our next one because we're looking at perhaps the addition of another 2,000 hotel rooms right on Rose Hall. Yeah, very exciting times. Very exciting times.
So tell us about when you acquired the property. Who did you get it from?
Well, my husband had run for governor and then came to Jamaica to rest after the election and fell in love with the Jamaican people. And he said to Nigel Pemberton, find me a little beach. Well, Nigel found him this property that had 7 miles of beach and 7,000 acres, and it was owned by Sir Peter Carteret, Mark Carteret's dad, and Sam Bronfman, the Seagram's heir from the United States. And so they negotiated, and Sam offered to be a partner. John said he loved to be his partner, but he didn't like partners, and ultimately John bought the entire property and then started out the quest of restoring the great house. Was absolutely in shambles. In fact, we have a photo of it that was taken with the sunset, so that the red in the sunset made it look like the house had been burned, but it was no better than rubble.
And talk to us about the renovation and what you had to go through to get the place looking like this.
A lot. What my husband actually did was reached out for one of the top architects, Tom Kincannon, so that it could be done authentically. And interestingly, we had in the archives in Kingston records of the exact furniture that that the Palmers had brought when they decorated the Great House. So we were able to do antiques that were the same era, the same design, the same, and it was amazing. We were able to put it back together almost the way it was, just because the records were so extensive. It was really a labor of love.
And what has been done since then?
Well, we do a room periodically. I mean,
Right.
it's a constant. The renovation is constant, and you know, we're already thinking about our next step, which is the hallways and the downstairs. That part of it never ends. But what we really wanted to do was capture the Jamaican spirit and capture the history and capture the feeling for it, so that when people came to the Rose Hall Great House, they didn't see just a historical building and great furniture. They got a feeling for some of the beauty at the Great House. You know, for the hummingbirds coming to dip in and into the honey and in the bird feeders, and to have the coconut man chop the coconuts and let people drink right from the coconut, the way even we do. I mean, Jamaicans do that. To just bring some of that history, some of that really Jamaican feeling into their visit. So they come away saying, wow, Jamaica. We drank the coconut water, we listened to the guitarist, we saw the hummingbirds feeding out of the bird feeders, and all of the other things that happen on here.
Yes, so much more authentic that way.
Yes.
On the other side of this break, we'll be hearing more about Rose Hall Estate and some of the major developments that the property has undergone over the years. So don't go anywhere. Home Sweet Home will be right back.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands.
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So we're heading up to the
Good.
Great House now. Tell us about some of the events and the tours that you guys have here. I know you have some tours daily. Tell us about that.
Well, the daily tours are wonderful because you get a feel for the furniture, for the history, and it's very educational and delightful. But at night, if you want to really take a risk and worry about Annie wandering around, we do a haunted tour that has caused some people to react quite physically because they weren't expecting a slave to come out or a chain to jangle.
When you say a haunted tour, you actually mean people are here to scare you?
Well, you have the little girl dragging the water. You have the drummer off in the hill like it would have been in those days. You have slaves that appear, some of them shockingly quickly.
These are actual people on the property.
They're actors who we have doing this. And it's amazing. We've had such popularity in our triptych stuff. You know, I'm not a social media person, but it just, the comments are recorded. It just makes us feel so good because it's another way to bring history alive to people that want it in a less historical form and a more action form.
I know you mentioned historically some of the events that had happened here, but in recent times, talk to us about the events or weddings that you guys have held here.
Well, we've done some incredible dinners for JAMPRO and for the government, and we actually, when President Bush was president, hosted the return dinner because he was on U.S. soil when Eddie Seaga was the Prime Minister.
Okay.
So we've seen a lot of political as well as entertainment.
Okay, and is it true that Jazz and Blues started here?
Yes, my gosh, yes. It was the first Jazz and Blues concert. We loved having it. We outgrew the site. We moved on to the Cinnamon Hill driving range, and I loved that site. You know, the wall, the rock wall with the bonfires on top and the great stage. And then we outgrew that and we went across the street next to the aqueduct, and then they went to Chukka Cove farther down the road, and then they came back. So it's been wonderful, but we have decided to branch out and do our own One Love concert, a Bob Marley concert, and the family is joining us with that.
Oh, no.
And so every first week in March, we stage the Marley concert. We did our first last year. We'll be doing our second this coming March. And it gives us a chance to bring talent in and to bring people to Jamaica to see what we really can do here and share in some of the beauty and the fun.
Okay, now you've done obviously a bit of investing in this historical home. How important is it to preserve Jamaica's heritage, and would you actually recommend it as a business venture?
Well, I think any country needs to protect its legacy and protect its historic sites. We felt it was a privilege to be here and to do real estate development here. So we wanted to do this as a gift really to the Jamaican people. And so it absolutely is a labor of love. I'm not sure that I would recommend it unless you had a larger property, a hotel perhaps to support it. And you know, we've had the hotels, they come and they go, and the Great House has become such a fixture that we have enough tours that support it. But yeah, I would recommend it if you can fit it in as part of a larger development. It's a wonderful thing to do. And most of all, it'd be a shame to let any of the great houses disappear from sight.
Exactly. Okay, well, I think the only thing left is our tour.
Good.
All right. Coming up after the break, we'll be touring the Great House and hearing about the future plans for the illustrious Rose Hall estate. So don't go anywhere. More Home Sweet Home after this.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I'm Adam Stewart. This is Business Access TV, serious about business.
Are there any other unique pieces as we tour the house or even in this room that you'd like to point out to us?
Well, let me tell you, Annie Palmer was not a trusting woman, and she was so mean to the slaves that she locked her knives at night. So the top would come off, put the knives back in, and then lock the container so that no one would take a knife and stab her when she wasn't looking. Hate to have to be like that to keep everybody in line, but all of your fabrics here are from Scalamandre. So this brocatelle came, this is a little bit more recently than some of the other fabrics, but they do an incredible job with silks, and in using the authentic silks, they deteriorate more quickly.
Now, were there fabrics on the walls in the original house, do you know?
There were, but there was nothing that we could see.
Right, okay.
It was all totally destroyed.
That's interesting that they put fabric on the walls.
All of the paintings of Annie were destroyed the night of the rebellion when they came in and killed her in her bed, because they believed that if the portrait stayed, her spirit stayed, and they were trying to destroy any possibility of having her remain behind.
So how did they have this?
Well, it's been said it's Annie, but we don't believe it is.
Okay.
We do have a painting in the library that looks like Rosa, and we do believe that that's Rosa Palmer. The furniture makers in those days were very smart and very clever. In a library like this, you'd need a ladder. So they would take an ordinary chair, and then they could flip it over. Here's your chair.
Okay, wow. Ah.
And then they could flip it back to become the ladder to take your books off the shelf.
Okay, so I guess those people were very short.
And Annie was very short. And Rosa Palmer.
Well, that's the photo.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So why do you believe so strongly that that's Rosa?
Well, just from pictures we saw at the museum in Kingston, the archives. We saw furniture pieces, we saw some pictures, and it looks like that's her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We did some things to accommodate today's world. Like this panel has the electricity behind it.
Okay.
So the door would open, and I don't know that I've done it right, but you have to have at least electricity, and now I wished we'd had plumbing. And when my kids tried to stay here that night, they wished that we had plumbing.
I'm sure they did. This staircase is just beautiful, though.
Yeah. Well, the mahogany in Jamaica is so amazing.
Oh, yes. That's for sure.
We did it for the blood that Annie represented and the blood that she took, because we knew it needed to be vibrant and to express how horrible she was and how physical she was. So if you feel any vibes, it's here that you'll feel them. And I've had people jump out from under the bed to scare my family, and Major's the one most guilty of that. But you don't have to do much in this room to make everybody nervous.
You can see that the beds are very short.
The beds are very short, yes.
Show that the people are also very short.
Yeah. And it's very interesting, in many of the real antique beds, only the front 4 posters are carved. Right. And the back are straight, square, because they used fabric to cover them. I found that a tragedy, because you don't always want that much fabric.
Yeah.
So in the ones that I've made, like for my house, I've had the 4 posters carved and not done that. But I mean, every shape is different. It's all amazing. It was a wonderful time restoring this.
I was gonna ask you where the bathrooms are.
Well, I can show you.
Or what they used to use.
I can show you what happened, yes.
So whose room is this actually?
This is another husband's room. Okay. She killed a husband in every room and then would put the next husband in a different room. Okay. And she was so miserable, and she knew how hated she was, that when the little boys, and every age worked for her, when they would carry the food from the kitchen, because the kitchens were always outside the house, so the house wouldn't go on fire, they would have to whistle the whole way so that she knew they weren't spitting in their food or tasting it or doing something that would be abhorrent to her. So they would leave the kitchen and then whistle all the way here.
was down here used for?
This was the dungeon. Every great house should have its own dungeon, of course. And what she had under the staircase was a bear claw to capture slaves. They were placed around the plantation, so if they were running away, if their foot caught in it, they removed the foot. So people were a little hesitant to try to escape. There were a lot of tools that were, it's amazing. You think, how could that be? And yet it was.
So she would keep them down here?
Yes.
Wow, I wonder what kind of conditions.
Not much, not much.
Mrs. Rollins, what would be the value of this property now? Do you have any idea?
That would be so hard to tell. You know, how much of the grounds are included with it. I know we've spent millions of dollars on it.
Right.
And, it's invaluable in that it's the history that it is. So I'm not exactly sure, but I know it has infinite value to us in our hearts because it's so special.
And finally, what are the future plans for the estate?
Well, we're going to continue to develop both hotels, infrastructure, attractions. We have the golf courses, the Great House, the tours, the Jamaican feeling for all of that, living developments, affordable housing, luxurious housing, all of the things that create a resort that attracts everybody.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I had a fantastic time and I loved the tour and I love this property. So thank you very much for sharing it with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Ooh, yeah.
Thank you.
There's your picture hanging on the wall, and my heart cries out to know that you were gone. Said it's got to be there, still longing, hanging on the wall. And I watch you walk through the door, and I wave goodbye to you. And my heart cries out to know that you were gone. Still it's got to be there, still longing.
We've come to the end of another episode of Home Sweet Home, where we journeyed back in time, getting to know more about one of Jamaica's most historical and iconic homes, the Rose Hall Great House. It's been over 3 centuries since this home was built, and it's still managed to maintain its old world charm and mysteriousness, making it the greatest of Jamaica's great houses. Until next time, I'm Candy. Bye.
Yeah. As I watch you walk through the door, and I wave goodbye to you, yeah. Then my heart cries out to know that you were gone. Say this got to be there, still longing, hanging on the wall. Your picture gotta be there, baby. It's gotta be there, yeah. It's gotta be there. Oh yeah, hanging on the wall. Oh baby, yeah. As I watch you walk through the door, and I wave goodbye to you, yeah. Then my heart cries out.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a